Welcome back to the Inward Nine, a fantasy golf metrics production. My name is Jeff Ulrich. We're going to be recapping the Memorial, big Bryson DeChambeau, second victory on tour. And we're going to jump into the FedEx St. Jude Classic this week. We'll also touch on the U.S. Open coming up, qualifying just ending today. So we're getting a bit more idea what the field is going on. But yeah, it was an interesting week. I mean, it was a very interesting week for me. I had some Benny on bet. I also had a small Bryson bet that I made at the start of the week, mainly just because his price came out on one of my books. I also hit Thorbjorn Olesen over in Europe, so we'll talk about that. But Fantasy Golf Metrics co-founder Steven Richter also with us today. He was on vacation, but Steve, I know you kind of missed the Bryson train, but how do you feeling about it?
Listen, for the last month and a half, we've been big Bryson fans here. I think heading into last week, we've had him on the card 4 or 5 times. We make it a point to only kind of put out 4 or 5 outrights, and he didn't make the list, and then he goes out and wins. So, it's not like I was down on him. I mean, I think we had him like second or third overall in the guide. He's been playing well. It was just a week where we try and minimize, keep the card size at a certain spot, and he just didn't make it. I know you got him at a good number. I think you got him at 66-1 to open.
That's the thing. That's the only reason I bet Bryson, because I feel like he's like at 50-1 in that field. I was just like, I'm not that interested. But I saw him open at 66-1 on one of my sports books. And by the way, it's a good lesson. If you are into like outright betting, get exposure to as many sports books as possible and as many different lines as possible on Monday, because I'm not betting Bryson unless he opens at 66-1 on one of my sports books. So, that's the reason I bet him. It was awesome, obviously, for me. I mean, I almost feel dirty doing it, but that's part of the thing. You got to take advantage of the values. So, but yeah, that's why I bet him.
At that number, how do you not? I mean, easily one of the best players. I mean, we had him, basically number 1 in form with how consistent he had been. So, it doesn't surprise me. I mean, he's doing everything really well. A bunch of close calls. We missed on him. It's a little.
I mean, it's like you said. You didn't really miss on him. I mean, the survival guide has had him in the first class for the past 2 months. You just didn't bet him this week.
That's
a lot of people.
I didn't say
a lot
we
of
missed
other
on
people
him.
didn't bet him too. Trust me.
I missed on him. We'll say.
Yeah. I mean, a lot of other people didn't bet him. It feels like everyone bet him, but there are some people out there. Trust me. So. Anyways, yeah, it was Bryson. He's turned into an all-around player. I mean, he didn't just do it with ball striking this week. He, I was looking through the numbers. It's really only I think it was top 20 in approaches, but it wasn't anything spectacular. He putted pretty well, and he was really good around the greens too. So I mean, he's definitely turned into an all-around player. Kind of interesting. I had a bigger bet on Benny On. I was really cheering for him in the playoffs. One of my favorite players. He didn't really lose the tournament in the playoffs. He actually made a couple really good up and downs.
They were beautiful. I saw some of those clips today.
Yeah, he just about chipped it in. Like it was crazy, man. I was really cheering for him, but I also got a top 5 on him. Like I said, I got the Thorbjorn Olesen win over in Europe, which is was crazy because I mean Francesco Molinari was on absolute god mode over there. Sunk a 30-foot birdie putt on 18, and then Olsen had to get up and down. It was crazy. So that was a really good tournament. Both those guys are in the U.S. Open, by the way. Olsen qualified today. Molinari already in. Yes. I also had some web.com action. Michael Johnson had a 3-stroke lead, 225-1 going into the third round. Shot like 1 over. Still got a top 5 from it, though. Actually, you want to hear a funny story?
I would love to.
So the web.com leaderboard, it's like crazy. Like it gets adjusted after the fact and stuff like this. So Michael Johnson's coming home. He's in a full top 5 position. I had him for a top 5 as well as the win. So I was really praying for the top 5 because it was actually quite a bit of money. And it goes up that he bogeyed the final hole. And I dropped him out to it was like a share of a top 5. And then 30 minutes later, I see one of the guys I follow on Twitter. He's like, "Oh, I was on Michael Johnson. Looks like they adjusted the leaderboard. He parred the last hole." I'm like, holy crap, someone else bet Michael Johnson, first of all. And second of all, I got to go check this. And they adjusted it. So it was like another sweat. It was like a late night sweat on top of the web.com. So it was a crazy Sunday for me. It was good, but
listen, you had a chance at a trifecta, which is not the first time we've had that conversation. I mean, you had him 225-1 plus a 66-1. And what'd you have Thorbjorn at?
Thorbjorn was 80-1. That was, I don't know. Look, Thorbjorn wasn't even in form. I wasn't expecting much, but I'm happy to hit it. No, the only reason I bet Michael Johnson, I've been betting the web the past month or so. I just feel more confident in now. But again, he opened up at 225-1 on Bet365, and the other books he's like 100-1. So I'm like, someone's missing out on this guy, so I just threw a few bucks on him. But
Well,
anyways,
that's the thing. That's the important part is that if you have a ton of books at one price and another one that's not at it, like the data travels fast enough that there's a mistake, and that's when you can jump on it. Whether you like the play or the person or not, it's just buying value.
exactly. So that's, I mean, that was like saved my week last. I don't want to say it saved it. It made my week last week. So it was pretty cool to have like 3 events going on like that. Anyways, is interesting. But
I mean,
yeah, I mean, obviously the Memorial. I was big on Tiger last week. I feel like it was such the right call, but it just didn't turn out. He played so well. If he putts like field average, he wins by 3. That's how well he was hitting it. Like it was fun to watch. It was also very, very frustrating because I actually had a really big bet on him too. But yeah, I don't know. I guess he didn't see most of it, but he was phenomenal. It was weird that the putter went away. So
yeah, I mean, other than that, it's just I don't know when he's gonna put it all together because you get so excited. He comes up, the huge rounds, and then he gives it away. I mean, it's happened how many times where he's getting his hot round. I mean, he goes eagle birdie par birdie. He goes 500 in that stretch, and then ends up at the end of the day on Saturday, bogey par bogey, and it's like, listen, you can't fault someone for making bogeys, but it just seems like he keeps killing these great rounds, and he's so close. It's not that he's so close to winning; he's so close to like Tiger, and I think that's what it is. Like he goes on these runs, and it's like this is the Tiger you see, and then it kind of just fades. And listen, I don't think anyone should be surprised because it's hard to do that, but the fact that we're seeing glimpses of it, I mean, that's part of the conversation. Is that not is he good enough to win, and can he do it in a fashion that's slow and steady? The wins the race. That's never, really how he's done it. But, that's what we're looking for. We're not looking for what we've gotten glimpses of, which is really, great Tiger. So I'm excited to see if he can put it together, for four straight rounds.
it'll be. I mean, I'm a lot more interested in him at Shinnecock. I'll say that much. I mean, he should have shot like 62, 64 on Friday and Saturday. That's how close. I mean, he was so close to shooting that too. Like it's not being like facetious or exaggerating. I mean, he was there. So it was, like I said, it was cool to watch, but also frustrating. But anyways, that's a Memorial. Let's move on to talk about the FedEx St. Jude Classic. In case you haven't been paying attention, there's already some withdrawals. U.S. Open qualifying was today. We can talk about that a little bit. I think I have the withdrawals up here. Oh no, I don't, because I'm an idiot. But I'll get them up here right now. I'll just go. JJ Spawn withdrew. Like half the guys I bet this morning withdrew. Jamie Lovemark withdrew. I bet both those guys this morning, then they withdrew. So that's awesome. I got refunded, but it's just annoying because I put in the research. But Bud Colley's obviously out indefinitely. KJ Choi withdrew. Bo Hosler withdrew. Steve Marino withdrew, who no one cares about. And that's it. Yeah, Bud Colley obviously got in the car accident. I don't know if you heard, but he's got like a broken leg, like broken ribs. Sounded pretty bad. So hopefully he's okay. Obviously, like long term. He had some injuries before, but yeah, sucks for him, obviously, very bad. But Kiridesh Happy Barn Rat's in the field now. That's one interesting move. So actually, a guy actually ranked pretty high in the guide, isn't he?
Yeah, he's up there. We got him. What was that?
He's in the first class.
Yeah, 6th or 7th overall there. Form looks decent. I mean, if you look at it, last 4 starts, average finish at 23rd. He's never played there before, but all of a sudden he's kind of strung together a nice about month and a half or so. Joaquin Neiman, we've been talking about right next to him too. So a couple interesting names in the field in that range this week, creeping up to the first class.
Yeah, P. Barnrat's really interesting. He played well at Wentworth. I think I hit him for a top 5 there. That was like the only thing I hit at that tournament. But yeah, he played well. I mean, he's been very consistent this year. So definitely someone to think about this week. I'm not going to go crazy with him, but he might get on a GPP team or something. But yeah, like I said, the U.S. Open qualifying finals were today. If you weren't paying attention, Adam Scott got in. There's still like a playoff going on. Roberto Castro got in. Russell Knox got in. Harold Varner got in. Ollie Schneiderjans got in. I kind of wish Ollie had missed because I have this bad feeling he's going to withdraw. And as you probably know, I'm going to be betting him this week. Keegan Bradley got in, and Shane Lauer got in, and Brian Gay got in. So those are kind of the bigger names. There's some talented other amateurs. I won't go through everyone because it'd be here forever. But there's also a big playoff going on with like Scott Piercy, Aaron Wise, and a bunch of other guys. So we'll get the U.S. Open field like basically finalized today. It might be one or two additions, but that'll be nice to have.
Oh, I'm pumped. So, listen, as soon as the price is posted, we're going to get that up there. We have it where you can look at multiple fields. You'll be able to check out for next week. So as soon as it's available, even if it's before this week starts, and it'll all be up there.
Yeah, that's good. And actually, yeah, just to stay on the U.S. Open for a bit here, like I'm gonna have an article definitely like later this week once the pricing gets out. I already have kind of like a few bets I made, but I'll definitely be going over the pricing. And I'm not gonna be doing the player profiles like I did for the Masters because there's not enough time. But I will be doing like I guess just call it like a gigantic preview. So it'll probably be 2 or 3 posts where I'll go through all the tiers and talk about as many players as I can. So look for that starting late next week. There'll be no in-play blog for this week or anything like that, but definitely some U.S. Open content will be dropping. So that'll be good. I'm excited. Once I'm kind of excited just for this tournament to get over, quite frankly, because then we can move on to the U.S. Open. But we got a tournament to play still, and Dustin's here, Brooks Koepka's here, Phil Mickelson here. I feel like these 3 guys just play here every year now. They actually do play here like every year now, and they're just none of them ever win. I think Dustin has won this once, but they always seem to like creep up where they're all in the top 10 at the end of the week. So they have fantastic records. I mean, does any one of these 3 guys stick out for you this week, or is it just like?
Well, I mean, listen, if you look at it like you said, we have Koepka ranked first overall in the guide. DJ has that win back in 12. I think he's got draw in 2015.
Yeah.
Koepka no worse than 37th, which was last year. Phil, in the last 5 years, no worse than 11th. He did finish 59th back in 2009. But yeah, like you're saying, not really. Course history is pretty strong for all of them. I don't know if it's a partial of them liking the course, them, it being an easier field, and they're class players that like to get the reps in before a major. I've noticed that I think Phil's always looked to play really well the week before, and he's not scared to win the week before trying to go in. He's never won at Augusta, but he's contended after winning at the Shell, so it doesn't surprise me.
I think didn't he win one year where he actually won at the Shell?
Did he win both of them? I feel like that's the stat of like, no one's ever won the week before.
Phil has done it. Phil has won the week before a major. I just don't know if it was the Augusta.
He won the Scottish, didn't he? He won the
Scottish. Was that it? Was that maybe that was the year then? Okay, yeah, that could have been it. Yeah, I know he's done it once. But anyways, yeah. But of those 3, Phil's the guy I trust the most personally. I'm definitely. First of all, he's cheaper. It's like you said. He's not afraid to go and win this week. He's top 10 here like 5 years in a row. Look, Koepka's playing great, but he also rode a hot putter in Texas. He's also the defending champ next week. He's got to be thinking ahead a little bit. And Dustin, Dustin's withdrawn from this event before. I know he kind of needs a good week too, and I'd probably side with him for that aspect over Koepka, but he's really expensive. So, like, I'm on Team Phil this week. I don't know.
No, I can get behind the argument. Outside of the 134 at the Players, where we both really liked him. Listen, he went 5th at Wells Fargo. Yeah. Kind of had whatever happened to him at the Players. Listen, the Players was just a bit of a bad actor because right before he got crushed, he was like borderline contending or making a move, and then it kind of just all went away, which is what happens there. So I don't feel like, listen, there's a little bit of pause there, but it's different than if he finished 134th at like the Byron Nelson or the Valero Texas or something random. He came back and he finished 13th last week. So yeah, definitely on form. 500 less than Koepka, 1,100 less than DJ. Obviously, you see the record there. I don't know. How much do you think he fights with Stenson for ownership? Because if you look at 2 records, right now Stenson has solid form. He's coming off a 13th, a 23rd, a 19th, a 5th, and a 6th. The 19th was the team event, so doesn't really count, but still a 5th and a 6th after that. He's a guy that's on form. We have him basically 2nd overall. He hasn't played here in a while. He finished 13th here back in 2012, last time he played. But I like both of those guys in that range if you're trying to dip down below the top 2 guys. I'm just not sure where I feel the ownership will be. I mean, you got to think they're going to be pretty close, if not Phil, maybe a little more because of history recently.
Yeah. No, look, I mean, I'm all over Henrik Stenson this week. I mean, if I had to choose, I'd take Stenson over Phil. To be quite honest, he's hitting it so well right now. I mean, he's very accurate off the tee, which for this course you absolutely do want, because it's some of the hardest to hit fairways on tour. And Stenson just doesn't miss like poorly one way or the other. He's first in approach. Approaches are sort of magnified on this course too. We see, which if you go to the Fantasy Golf Metrics stat searcher tool, course snapshot tool, you can see. So I'm all over Stenson. I know he doesn't have the course history, but this just feels like a perfect Henrik Stenson course. He's won the week before. Actually, I'm not sure if he won the week before his major, but I think it was 2 weeks before, and then he took the next week off. But he did win over in Europe, and then he won his next start. So I like Stenson's not afraid to win this tournament either. I like him for the U.S. Open, by the way, a lot. Maybe not for like the outright win, but for DFS for sure. So I got nothing bad to say about Henrik. I don't know. Are you kind of the same thing? Are you Henrik over Phil? Like if you had to choose?
I don't know. I want to say yes. I think Stenson. I think I trust Stenson just because I feel like really gearing up to play well at Shinnecock. I mean, listen, obviously, I should Phil. This is the best he's played in a couple of years now, going for the career Grand Slam. So you can make that argument. I don't know. I just get the sense from Stenson with the way he's playing. There's a bit of focus there. Not that Phil doesn't have it, but I would agree. I think I'm just a tad more in line with Stenson, but I like both. Like we both said.
It is a weird week. I mean, we like both these guys, but it's the week before major. If one of them gets off to a bad start, like you just never know. I mean, I don't want to qualify what we're saying. We just got to look at the event objectively. But I do like. I mean, this is a good course for him, in my opinion, and so it's hard for me to not like be high on him. I have no problem. Let's put it this: I have no problem fading the top two guys and just going with Phil and Henrik this week and going heavy on them if you're playing a lot of lineups. So, moving down the salary, it gets really, I don't want to say crazy, but it gets thin quickly. I mean, we got Billy Horschel at 9,700 again, Daniel Berger at 10,000. Berger's been weird this year. Like he doesn't seem like he's played much recently. I mean, he's played twice since the Masters, and I mean he's making cuts, but he's not doing anything. But the thing is, this is the exact same form he's come in the last 2 years, and then he's won here. So,
well, yeah, for anyone
like literally the exact same form. I mean,
for anyone listening, they might be looking at the survival guide and they see history rank, and he's made 2 starts here and he's won both of them. How is he not first in history? We have him fourth in history, and this is a pretty clear example just to explain to everyone.
Sample size, right?
Exactly, yeah. So when it's 1, 2, 3 events in that range, listen, he's still ranked fourth overall. He's still up there, but we take a little bit of pause. So that's why you see someone like Phil, ranked second in history because it's 6 events, 14.3, average finish. I mean, listen, Berger goes out there and shoots, has another top 10 this year. I can assure you on next year's guide, he'll be number 1 in history. It's all about extending it out there. So before people say, how is he not ranked? I mean, we take into account a lot of these things. It's not just a standard, well, he's won twice here, so he's got to be best at history.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it's like one guy shows up at a course, wins, and then he can't just be have the best course history, because it's more about sample size. The bigger course sample size you have, usually the better, especially when you're waiting. So makes a ton of sense. Adam Scott obviously qualified for the US Open today. I would guess he's going to pull out because this would be the 6th week in a row for him to play. So I'll be absolutely shocked if Adam Scott starts this tournament, to be frank. I would really look for him to withdraw tomorrow or tonight. So just keep an eye on that. He's still in the field as of now, though. So just to keep an eye. I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on him, though. Charles Schwartzel, though. I mean, let's talk about him, because I had a nice betting week, but Charles really sunk some nice DSF lineups because Bobby liked him too. We were all over Charles Schwartzel last week. He's a good price. He wasn't even highly owned, but crafted up, man. He crafted up bad.
I mean, it was really bad. Like,
yeah, it was not good.
I know a lot of people even were, in the industry were on him, but it boils down to this. He actually played fairly well. He he was negative 4.106 in strokes gained putting. If I weren't to look at any of the putting stats, I would tell you right now, yeah, I love Charles this week.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I don't like him this week. I don't really know where that came from, because the reason I liked him so much last week was both the ball striking and the putting were so far on the way up. And the reason I didn't even look at the numbers, I just looked at one of the charts that I use that's a 10-round moving average, and it takes a plummet from those two events. And to have a 10-round moving average move so drastically, with just 2 rounds, I mean, it's pretty incredible. I mean, it reads perfectly to me. I mean, he actually is striking it, fine. He played great. He just missed every putt. He missed every putt.
Yeah, no, I mean, it was brutal. But, I mean, the one thing I'll say about this week, he is statistically a better Bermuda putter. So these greens are quite a bit different. They're smaller than Memorial. Probably, they are going to play fast, though, because it's going to be hot out and there's like no rain. So, but, again, he's a better Bermuda putter. So
he's not just a better Bermuda putter. He's a good Bermuda putter. I have him ranked on the Survival Guide 36th in strokes gained putting in 145 Bermuda rounds. Then, so he's, he can putt on this surface. It's not like he's average or bad. So this could be a time where maybe if everyone got burned last week, maybe it's time to jump back on him and he bounces back. It wouldn't surprise me.
I'll 100% throw him in a GPP lineup this week, especially because I'm anticipating. Although the other thing is, who else are people going to use in this range? Especially if Adam Scott drops out. I guess they could just stack the top 4 players. That's probably what a lot of people do, or just play Benny on too, right?
I mean, Charles. He finished second last year too, so.
No, absolutely. I mean, he's this is a good course for Charles too. I mean, his iron play is really good right now. So, yeah. But try not to completely write him off. I mean, if he fails again next week, I'll never mention him again. But but yeah. So anyways, under him, Finau, Benon, Keegan Bradley, Neiman, Stricker, Knox, Howell, Uline. I mean, from this range, there's a lot of different arguments you can make. I actually like most of these guys, quite frankly. Anyone stick out for you, just of this group?
Yeah, I mean, last week, really liked Finau coming in. Obviously played well last week. Nothing to shy off from. If you still liked him last week, no reason not to like him this week. Same thing for Uline. Guy's just playing phenomenal. I mean, he's a guy that we've been riding for a while. Everything's kind of trending up. The putter is up and down, and you just got to catch him on the up weeks. I mean, I thought last week there was a chance it could have been, there was I think was it earlier mid Saturday he was sniffing top 5. He was in that range. If he just could have made a couple more, but Uline definitely a guy I'm still willing to ride. I would say Finau and Uline are the 2 guys in that range. I mean, I've seen enough now from Neiman that I'm definitely there. I mean, I'm starting to see it kind of level out. The putter's a little better. He's a solid player, man. I mean, it's not like I'm telling anyone anything new, but he's a real solid player. I have enough data to say all right, it's time to run with this guy. Definitely. I don't know. 8,900. It feels like a lot, but he hasn't done much to disappoint you.
No, exactly. I mean, the only thing you could argue about him here is maybe the driver gets taken out of his hands a bit. It takes away. I mean, he struggled for a round at Colonial with a similar kind of style setup. So I think Memorial's probably was better for him. That's probably why he saw him play so well for so long. So he's another guy who his putter's been streaky. He actually has a pretty good putting stroke. I will say this. So I mean, I've just been mostly looking at the data, but his putting stroke isn't bad. It's just he's just a young guy, and he's still, it's just not that consistent right now. So I'm probably not going to use him here. I feel like this might be the time where everyone gets on him, and then it's bye bye.
Yep.
And he did just play U.S. Open qualifying too. He didn't make it, but we'll see. I'm not super high on him here. We'll see what the ownership projections are, I guess, is what I'd say with him, because this range is pretty stacked. I like Uline too. I kind of have the same feeling about him here. I like the setup more for him last week. This might be a time to get off him. I really like Uline as a player. I do feel like he's got a lot of. He's so good for DFS too, because he makes a lot of birdies. Mm-hmm. I will say this. I think I'd rather play Luke List at 8,300. the new line this week. He's produced so well in these courses this year. Heritage, PGA National. I think I'd rather just go down there and trust him. He's got an 18th at this course too.
I'll be honest, List, I jumped off him right around the time, he had that kind of, his best finish right after that, and it was good timing, but
yeah,
he's slowly kind of coming back. He was playing at a ridiculous level, especially ball striking wise. About a month and a half ago, 2 months ago. But it's slowly kind of coming back, and I don't hate that call at all. You want to get in there. Another guy we spoke about, or briefly mentioned last week, Russell Knox, had some interest there, and he came in, played decently. I think he's not terrible at 8,700. I think he's going to be. I don't know about the ownership at 8,700 for him. I imagine. I think some people are starting to note him this week, but 8,700 does feel a lot for him. So I think there could be some value there.
I think people will get drawn to Neiman and Uline, and I like Russell Knox too. That's the other name in this range. I feel really good about. I like Benny. I liked him a lot more last. He kind of fits into that Uline Neiman thing, though. I just feel like the driver gets taken out of his hands a bit here. The driver's such a good club for him. It's not that they can't play well on these courses. I mean, these guys I'm mentioning, but I just feel like last week that's where they played well, and the course was advantageous to them. Now, maybe not so much. Russell Knox suits this course really well, and he's got the course history to back it up too. I'll just bring it up here quickly, but it's like multiple top tens. Of course, say that, and now I can't find it. Here he goes. So yeah, I'm sorry, one top 10. I mean, he's made the last two cuts, 37th in a top 10. I think he was sick here one year or something, so he did miss a cut. But it's a pretty strong course history to have a top 10 over the last 3 years. So I just feel like accurate. His tee to green game has been good. He did qualify for the U.S. Open today too, so he could withdraw. So keep an eye on that. But if he doesn't and we get low ownership on him, I'd be all over Russell Knox this week.
Right. So yeah, again, you're talking. We're in the upper eights, and we're talking about these guys that are normally like upper 7, low 8 guys. So
that's the thing.
It's a quick drop off.
Kirk is Kirk still on your radar here? I mean, 8K for Chris Kirk. I actually bet him. I actually bet Jamie Lovemark, and then the bet got canceled, and then I just put on Chris Kirk, who was 80 to 1.
Yeah, I mean, listen, Kirk was a bad round away from factoring in. I was hoping he was gonna. I had a couple of those top 20s looking. Heading into Saturday evening and Sunday morning, like, hey, if a couple of these guys hit, it's a big week, and they all kind of fell off, like Lowry, Kirk. They went out and shot like 3-4 over on the final day after shooting like 6 under the day before, so that was a little disappointing. I mean, it was just a one round kind of thing. I think it was a tougher day overall, and he didn't make the most of it. I mean, it was clearly just the one round. I mean, he's putting well too. He putted well enough to go out and win, and the ball striking was kind of just mediocre for him.
Well, you probably missed this, but he actually did on Friday. So he started round one with a 75. He shot 69 on Friday to make the cut, but on 18, on his last hole on Friday, he topped the 3-wood that literally went 60 yards off the tee, and then he made par to make the cut. You should go on his Twitter account because he actually acknowledged it. It's hilarious. He's like, yeah, he's like, shot tracker says it went 70. It actually went 55 yards. But then he made par. Like he hit like a 3-wood, like 250, and then he got up and down. Like it's crazy. So, but he literally topped a 3-wood on 18 and made par. And but that's pretty cool. I like him though this week. He's missed the cut here twice. He's only has 2 starts, but one was from like 10 years ago and one was last year. His approach game is so much better this year though. And he, again, I hate to keep bringing up U.S. Open quad, but he missed qualifying today. He withdrew after the first round, so he's not going to be as fatigued as some of these other guys. And I mean, like he needs a win to get into the U.S. Open now. I'd almost rather back players to win, like Chris Kirk, who are coming in with that mentality. So, and Kirk's the guy who's won before. I like him this week. I kind of talked myself into him this morning, but I'm starting to like him a lot more now. So he's definitely kind of a guy I'm looking at 8K.
How does that work with? Because I was mistaken. I didn't think that a win would get him in. How does that work?
You know what? You're right. I don't think the win does get him in. Oh yeah, no, it might. It actually might. I think it gets him in if he's inside the top 60 after the win. I think that's right because the USGA holds a couple spots in case guys jump up into the top 60.
So if he won, it would get him. I mean, because I'm looking at him as 130 right now in the world. So
So
I don't know if a win would get him there.
That would be close. Yeah, it might get him to like that would be really close actually. I'm not sure.
Yeah,
because that's a pretty big jump, but that might just be right on the cusp.
Yeah, because it has to be a world ranking. Zaire's not in. He's got the 2 wins.
Yeah. So. Because exactly. Yeah. No, it is world ranking for sure. It's top 60, and there are spots. So, but you're right. It's not automatic, but it's still. I mean, he's got to be coming in with mentality of like this is his U.S. Open now because he ain't playing next week, right? So, but anyways, I like Chris Kirk. So, JB Holmes didn't qualify either. Actually, he drilled it off the tee last week. Like he had a good. I'm actually kind of pissed JB Holmes didn't qualify because I think Shinnecock would have been interesting for him. I mean, it's a longer course. He's hitting it well off the tee, so kind of sucks. But any interest in him here? I mean,
listen, a lot of this week is driving it well. It's not so much power as it is accuracy. I mean, right. I'd hate to see a lot of JB Holmes water balls. I saw a stat today. This is the most water balls on tour, even more than Sawgrass, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. But that's my only concern. I mean, you look at what he's done. There's 3 or 4 cuts here. He hasn't really done much. He finished 19th back in 2012, 52nd last year. So, he hasn't done too much. I don't hate him, but I'm not. There's nothing here for me to like say. I like Holmes this week.
I really just wanted to play him at the U.S. Open, but I don't really have that much interest in him here either. We'll see. He might even withdraw. Who knows? Going down, I do have a little bit of interest in Ollie this week, and Ollie's really interesting because everyone always looks for the ball strikers who are hitting it well, but they're not quite putting, and then they're going to have the hot putting week. Ollie's basically completely different right now because he's making cuts, but he's doing it all from putting and a really good short game. But he's putting really well, and his short game is really sharp. So my theory is all he needs is a good ball striking week, and it's not like we haven't seen him strike the ball well before, right? So it's not like it's that. Like I just feel like he's closer probably than the numbers might dictate, because he is a good Bermuda putter too. Like he's pretty good on Bermuda. He's done well on less than driver courses like Hilton Head, Wyndham. I already bet Ollie actually pretty big at like 100 to 1, and I'm definitely gonna throw him in some lineups this week. I mean, I don't know what it's looking like for you. Like I said, the ball striking is not there, but
I don't hate the concept. I just I like it more for if you're gonna play him in some DFS lineups, like sure, some GPP lineups, but the price just seems a lot. It's $7,700 for a guy that's gone 65th, 74th, 75th, 34th. That's the thing. It's like, he's making some cuts, or he's barely missing or making.
But he's blowing up.
Yeah, he's not contending. I haven't seen anything in the last couple months where he's contended. A couple of the charts I'm looking at, the putting is decent, like you're saying, and the ball striking is definitely kind of on the way down overall. So, listen, I guess I'll disagree with you. We generally, you and I don't, we'll kind of say, hey, if you see it, fine, but I don't see it at all. I hope he's right because
I said, I mean, it's coming at it from a different angle. The reason I say it is a couple times last year he missed multiple cuts, and then he just came in and like he recorded a top 5. He did that at the Wyndham, missed 3 cuts in a row, and then almost won. So we'll see. I mean, it could just be like a mental thing on the course where he's just making mistakes, and it's just skewing his stats too. I don't watch every shot he takes, obviously, but I feel like he might be a little bit closer, and I just feel like this is a good event. If you're going to take a shot with him, do it at 100 to 1. Do it in a weaker field event where he's at least under 8K and not going to kill you. So that's my theory on him this week. I will say this, kind of like Andrew Putnam still.
That was my next question. I was like, you know what? I think I can still ride on the Putnam train.
This should be a good course for him. I memean, he's a strong par 4 scorer. His approaches are good. We've liked him. I mean, he's a guy who can putt too, right?
Listen, I finished 20th at Fort Worth. I'd like him to be putting a little better, but
right.
I mean, why not Putnam this week? He's been playing really well, really consistently, well for the most part. I mean, again, he's played once here a couple of years back. I don't even consider that. You missed the cut in 15, but that's a different player. Some of these younger guys, when you see that random like one event, like I don't factor that in because
that was back in like 2014 when he was on tour and missed like 20 cuts and had to go back to the web.com, right? So
exactly.
Not a big deal. He's playing much better right now, obviously. So,
but I think this is the type of field you look at where he's played, and it's like it reminds me a lot about when you're handicapping horses, and you have a horse go from a certain class, a certain a stakes race or an allowance or a claiming, and the way that works. You look at the events that he's performed well in over the last 3 months. They're all like this class. The only event he didn't really perform as well in was the Wells Fargo. He finished 82nd, but Fort Worth Invitational 20th, Byron Nelson 42nd, 15th in the team event, 8th at Valero, 32nd Houston, 5th at Punta Cana. I mean, you can see it's all related to class. Like he's probably been playing. He's been playing extremely consistent. The only thing that's changed is the quality of people around him. So I would definitely feel good about maybe jumping in on like a top 20 possibility here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Maybe even a top 10, like depending on odds. But yeah, I did. I mean, I still like him. Kevin Chappell is. Got any feelings about him? I mean, how many cuts does he miss now? 4 out of 5 cuts. He's got a T30 at Valero.
Yeah, he missed the last 2.
Yeah,
not too far off though. It looks like he missed maybe 1 by 1 or 2 shots each. Yeah, I mean, it looks like 3 of them are. Technically.
I haven't looked into Chappell at all. Like, I don't know what's going on. I assume it's a mix of both, but I don't know. I mean, he's a good player, right? Like,
when he
shouldn't get too far off him. I mean,
finished 4th here last year. It's just he's actually putting it decently. The ball striking's kind of well below for him, and that's the thing. It's like I look at these charts and it's he's a good baseline ball striker and a bad baseline putter. But he's putting well, not ball striking well. So that kind of like negates.
He's Ollie.
Yeah, exactly. he's kind of negating right now.
Okay, yeah. I mean, he's gonna get back on track at some point, but we'll see. I think my plan will probably be to stay off him. If he plays well, maybe use him as like a low-owned pick next week at the U.S. Open because unless he wins, he's not going to be. I don't think people are going to get all over Kevin Chappell next week. But he's a good U.S. Open player if he's hitting it well. So. We'll see. Interesting. A guy to keep an eye on because he's a better player than he's showing right now. And this field thins out fast, but there's still some interesting names down here. I'll throw one out. See how you feel. CT Pan.
I was just looking at him. Funny.
Accurate player off the tee. Like that's good this week. I mean,
he has stepped up the ball striking over the last couple events. The putter is kind of and that. It's not bad or good. It's just kind of like down the middle right now for him, but definitely interesting. I think that from a GPP perspective, like what's he going to be on 3-4% at 7,500? I absolutely. He goes out and has a nice week. That's definitely where you find some value. And nothing's saying you got to play him this week for me, but I'm showing some signs that I could definitely get behind.
Yeah, I mean, accurate player, like I said. I mean, probably not going to get in too much trouble here, but ball striking's kind of his forte, and he's been hit or miss with the putter. I mean, but he has been a bit better recently. He's really bad at the start of the year, but he's had a couple good putting weeks. I'm probably going to throw an outright on him just at like 125 because and just get him for a top 5 too. But I'm betting like a lot of long shots this week because this tournament has seen some weird things. Like Ben Crane won one year with like no form. Fabian Gomez off no form. So I mean, CT Pan he's playing okay. I mean, he's done well again at these sort of these par 70-ish courses. So I like him in that range. He didn't qualify for the U.S. Open today either. Actually, neither did Putnam. Ollie did. Brian Gay qualified. He's the same price as Pan. Brian Gay's won this tournament before too. Actually, that's something to note. Shane Lowry at 7,600.
So yeah, I mean. We liked him a lot last week. I had him bet a couple different ways. I
like that bet too. Like I was interested. He played well in Europe the week before. Maybe a little bit of jet lag.
He had some good rounds and some bad rounds, and that was kind of it.
Well, and look, it might just be a bit of jet lag. He smoked his qualifying heat today. Like he won his qualifying heat. for the U.S. Open. He tied at 9 under, but he finished first. If he stays in this field, I'm really interested in him.
Yeah, I think you have to be. I mean, nothing shows that jump
This?
off him. I mean, I liked him a lot last week. The model didn't like him as much, but the trend was better than like the average. Generally, that's what I'll find. With the trend, you'll see me like guys maybe slightly more than I have in the model sometimes because the model aggregates more, whereas I'll look at trends to kind of like have both of them at the same time. And Larry, I liked more, obviously enough to put him in the bets. He didn't pay off, but I liked him a bit more than the model. Now he's sitting towards like the top of the second class, even with the 52nd. I mean, he's made 5 straight cuts. None of the finishes have been, incredible. But listen, maybe he's jet lagged and he goes out, gets more acclimated. He plays well in the qualifier. If he stays in, none of the stats from last week show me that it was a giant fall off.
Yeah, right. Like it wasn't that bad a performance. He still threw in a couple rounds under par. Like I didn't look at his stats last week, but it doesn't look that bad. I mean, Shane Lowry's played quite a bit over in America too. I mean, he's won an event here, obviously. So yeah, not definitely something to keep an eye on. I definitely like in that range. He just seems too cheap for this field too, don't you think? Like, with Ryan Palmer at 8,200 and Harrison English at 8,100. I mean, Shane Lowry is very quality player. Almost won the U.S. Open one year. I mean, 7,600. It's not a bad price. So. Okay, Ben Crane at 7,400. This is like Ben Crane Masters. I mean, his course right. I mean, I diss him, but I mean, he came through for me at Colonial. With like
I was going to say coming off an 8th.
Like it was like a 20-1 or 17-1 top 10. Like that was great. You're not going to get him at that number this week, unfortunately. Did he make his qualifying? I'm just going to check. Oh, that playoff is still going on. It's like 10-person. He's in a 10-person playoff right now. So. Regardless if it makes the playoff or not, I mean, he's going to play this event because like he loves this event. But yeah, I don't know. 74. He'll probably be a chalk pick of the week. I mean, chalk Ben Crane doesn't sound very tempting to me, to be honest. Like, that's not a good thing, is it? I mean,
he's got 5 top 15s, the win, 10th last year.
I can't say anything bad about him because he's playing well. He's actually ball striking well for him. He's got a good short game and he's got a great course history. It's just. I don't really want to play like 20% own Ben Crane, right? So
exactly.
I don't know. I mean, do with that what you will. Where's he ranked in the guide? He's got to be pretty high this week.
Crane, let's see.
Yeah, he's in second class. He's right below Luke List. So
yeah.
But I mean, he deserves it. I make fun of him, but he's playing well. So I don't know. I'm probably gonna avoid. He'll probably finish like T3, and I'll suck this week. But whatever. Harold Varner's playing well.
I saw some chatter about him today. Liking him in the odds in like that 150 to 200 to 1 range.
Yeah, it's big in betting odds. I mean, I don't know if he can putt well enough, but we played well at the Players, obviously. I think he qualified for I think he's in that playoff too. Or did he already qualify? No, I think he already qualified. Anyways, he's playing pretty good. So. He's got a decent course history here. He's got a top 10, I think, in 2 starts. So he definitely has a top 10 here at some point. Kind of interesting. Again, in this weaker field, this is the kind of field like I'd like to take a chance on Harold Varner. And at this price, I think it makes sense. So I definitely wouldn't put anyone off in this week.
Yeah, we got him ranked 5th in trend. So that's one of the things going for him.
I think the price is right to use him here for sure. So I wouldn't put anyone off that. My boy Danny Lee, who also helped us self-destruct a very nice lineup. Oh my God, Matt! I had Tiger, I had Ben, I had Louis, who shot like 65 on Sunday, and I had Danny Lee and Charles Schwartzel.
Yeah.
Oh, so bad. I was all over the right players. I had Bryson in another lineup, like stupid Charles and stupid Danny Lee. I'm going to have to bet them both. They'll probably both bounce back this week. Oh, well. I'm not betting them both. Screw those guys. But yeah, anyways, Danny Lee, I don't know. I mean, he was ball striking well before the Memorial. I have no freaking clue what happened. Like, really no idea.
Yeah, it was
He actually played a bit better on Friday, if you want to take that as a positive. But I don't know. He's Danny Lee. He does crazy stuff. I got what I deserved. Let's put it that way. Let's just leave it at that. I got exactly what I deserved there.
trying to see anyone that right below
Hoagie
7.
played well last week.
Yeah. He was a guy. I think we had him fairly high last week too.
Yeah, he was kind of popped up there. I noticed.
I think he was in the second class.
Like,
we got him second class again this week. Made 2 or 3 cuts here. Another trend guy. Probably not bad at that price. I mean, I listen a lot of the guys at that price.
He's kind of like HV3. Like, he's a really good ball striker, and I don't know if he can putt well enough to win, but I like him for DFS at that price in this field. Again, it just comes down to field, right?
Yeah, it's all about relative.
It's not a bad price for him. I mean, in a field like this, so, and he's got some good course history. So Tom Hoagie, that's kind of interesting.
I mean, Joel Dahman at 7,100.
Yeah, I mean, our guy Joel Dahman, just killing it, like top 20s every week. I mean, I did not even much to say. I mean, that's a great price for him.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised.
I don't know. I don't know. Sorry, what was that?
I'm surprised he's at a lower price.
Yeah, no, I actually, I am too. I mean, obviously I haven't combed through everyone in the field, but that's not bad.
I mean, how is a guy that's gone 4 straight top 25s, 25th, 16th, 16th, 20th, like it's 7,100. I mean, he's like.
Yeah, and then you got Ollie up at 7,700, right? With no course history.
He's missed 2 cuts on the number, and then the 13th back at Punta Cana. Like, I mean, Dahman, first class for us. Or no, just in the top of second class. But 21st in overall form for a $7,100 player. I mean, he's by far the cheapest player. Crane sneaks in with the good form and then the better course history, 7,400. But no one, the lowest priced guy above him, above Dahman, is is Neiman at 80. No, he's at 89. Is Barnrat at 8,400. So like, that's by far the cheapest guy for the highest rank. So no reason not to slide him. And he finished 18th in his one start here. So
yeah, no, he's got some course history. Dahman's in this playoff too. This is crazy. Aaron Wise is in the playoff. Scott Piercy, Ben Crane.
Yeah, so who knows? Tomorrow half of this stuff could be irrelevant.
I know. It's a good note. I mean, just make sure you check first thing before you start.
And we'll update the guide. I mean, we've done this recently. Yeah. But it's only been like 1 or 2 guys. We'll throw the WD in there. But for this week, we'll do a huge update for that.
But I mean, this is good. I mean, obviously, if these guys stay in the field, I mean, I think these are really quality values. Like Dahman, I think Hoagie's HV3. So I mean, going down, I missed the name. Not Fathauer. Well, Fathauer's like 350 to 1.
I don't hate if you want to throw him in. I could see him going back-to-back made cuts. Greg Chalmers. I'm still there. I mean, listen, he got the cut made last time. I liked him. No reason not to fill him in for just a cut made lineup, I think.
I mean, Chalmers he's high risk, high reward. I mean, he can get the putter firing. I'm probably not going to do it, but this is again, it's the type of field where you take shots on guys like Greg Chalmers, right? So
he's a great putter who's putting on baseline, and I have him close to the best he's ever struck it before for him.
Right.
So that's what I'm saying. That's
what I mean. I mean, if he makes the cut, like he could easily like top 20, top 10. So just because he's going to sink so many more putts than everyone else, such a good putter. But yeah, John He made the cut last week, playing a little bit better. 6,900 feels a little bit too. Actually, he's made 2 cuts in a row now, so that's pretty positive for him. Matt Jones has a semi-good record at this event too. He's actually made 3 or 4 cuts now. Guy playing on like conditional status, so I mean, this is a big event for him. I mean, he needs to rack up some top 10s here or something. So I don't mind either of those guys at all. Like if you're looking for like pure tournament, sort of just guys under 7K. Hugh probably feels a little bit safer, but Wes Bryan's there too. I mean, I don't know if you got any thoughts on him, but he made the cut. He was kind of in contention after round 2. But I mean, again, just get a hot putter. He's kind of like Greg Chalmers. His ball striking is maybe getting a little bit better, but any thoughts there? No,
nothing off the top, Ned. Not enough to. I'd have to take a second to look through it, but again, all all these
All these
guys
guys
they're all maybe they pop up. Maybe there's one or two things.
they're not guys you're going to put in your core team. Like, I mean, exactly. I do like Damon. We like Damon. We like Hoagie. From down here, the other guys are all sort of, pick your poison. Look for guys with upside. I think Wes Bryant probably has as much upside as anyone in that range, but his floor is like 78. So just keep that in mind. I don't know. Anyone else sticking out to you before we go? Lanto Griffin, I'll throw that guy out again. I mean, I've no mention here, but he actually almost won a web.com event in Nashville, which is just like down the road 2 weeks ago. So he likes playing in the state. I think he qualified for this Open today too. So he's playing good. Another tournament dart, but I don't know. Anyone else under 6K feel really confident about? I don't.
No, no, not at all.
Stuart Sink plays well here. 6,800. He missed the cut last week. I don't know. Don't play Stuart Sink. Never. Just try not to go under 7K this week. Honestly, I'm gonna play a few tournament lineups this week, just because I can't out myself. But I'm mostly just gonna try and chill out as much as possible, trying not to have a stressful Sunday, and then get ready for the U.S. Open. It could be a good event. I mean, there's still some really interesting players here, but at the same time, it's hard to get excited. The week before the major is always the toughest week to get excited because you just don't know how serious some of these guys are taking it. They're taking it seriously, but at the same time. So I don't know. Let's talk about the U.S. Open a little bit. You still going down?
Oh man, I'm Thursday night. We got like 6-7 people. We're going out there Thursday night. We'll be there.
You going this Thursday night?
No.
No. Okay.
We'll be there Friday all day, Saturday all day, Sunday all day. Got a house out in East Hampton. Very excited about it. Been
Nice.
Building up for that. Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm really excited. Obviously, feeling really good about the Koepka money. I threw down at the better odds. He's definitely a guy that I still think is one of the better values. He's down to like 20, 25 to 1 now. Tiger, why not? Why not?
Interesting, isn't it? It's hard. It's so hard to argue with it now because now what is he like? The guy who's striking at the best in the world again? I mean, it's like, wow. I wish he had won last week because it would have made me feel good. And then if he had won at the U.S. Open, I wouldn't have cared if I missed it. But now it's like I almost feel obliged to do it for one more week. But we'll see. I'll have to think about that this week. I mean, the one thing I'll say about U.S. Open, it's usually, especially the last 5 or 6 years, it's guys coming in good form. You don't see like huge winners. I mean, Dustin Brooks was like 40 to 1, but he was still in good form. He just got a little bit better odds because he hadn't won that much, right? And then obviously Spieth the year before that, and it was Spieth versus Dustin the year before that. 2014 Keimer coming off the Players win, I think he was like 40 to 1. So it's not like these guys are coming out of nowhere, right? These are like informed players, big hitters, solid ball strikers, whatever you want to call it. But I can't argue with anyone on Brooks right now. I mean, he's turned into he's kind of like Bryson. He's more of an all around player now, but he just bombs it off the tee too. I'll throw out a few guys. Like I'll mention who I've got. I've been building a little bit of exposure to Jason Day. He's a good U.S. Open player. Just the putting to me is just it's such a big thing. Like he doesn't have to strike it as well as everyone else. He's such a good putter. I'm there on Ricky now. At top 10 last week. The putter got going in Colonial. A little bit, a lot better off the tee last week. I'm going to be on Ricky again. So better for worse, but I think he learned a lot at the Masters. I'm still there on Louis too, man. Like he's the last couple weeks have convinced me. The approach, the iron game for him is way better. He hit 16 out of 18 fairways. Or no, sorry, he hit 13 out of 14 fairways, 16 out of 18 greens on Sunday at the Memorial. So it's a Linksys style course. I like Louis, and then Alex Noren. I think we're both we like Alex Noren.
Well, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, he hasn't been playing quite as well. I mean, he played well out in Europe.
Had a good week at Wentworth. He didn't play Italy, whatever. I mean, Italy was. He actually finished pretty strong there, but it was kind of like a birdie fest. He got off to a slow start. I'm not that concerned. He made the cut. So.
What do you think about Rory?
Here's what worries me about Rory. He likes to get in fights with the USGA, and he always seems to be negative about the course setup. And the other thing about Rory is all of it, and I bring this up like every year, but all of his major wins have been at like -14, -15 or better.
Yep.
And I just don't see that happening. So I know his short game and putting have been better this year, so that does give me a bit of pause, and I'm gonna look at him this year for the U.S. Open, but I still like other guys better. Like I like Day a bit better. Definitely can't like. I mean, Brooks is obviously fine. What about Phil?
For the U.S. Open.
Yeah, for the U.S. Open. I mean, he was runner up here in 2004.
I mean, yeah, always interested in Phil for the U.S. Open.
And I mean, the fairways are a bit wider now, right? Like he's 33 to 1. It doesn't seem like a bad number considering how he's played, right?
yeah, I mean, he's going for something here. I mean, you know he's going to be focused on it. You know this is a big deal for him. I mean, this is, I mean, listen, every year, people are going to make claims as to why this is his best shot or his last shot. But like you said, he finished fourth here. It's a kind of a course that he's played. He can play well at, and he's having his best year since 2013. So, yeah, I mean,
well, and the putting is the thing that gets me too, right? Like, I mean, you look how Goosen won here, and just you have to putt and make all your 5-footers at the U.S. Open, whatever, like 5-10 footers, and that's what Phil's been doing. So he's shown he can pull strike too, right? So I don't know, man. Like I haven't quite talked myself into it, but I'm really close. I also like Stenson a lot. I mean, we talked about him off the top, but he's the same price right now, and I mean, it kind of reminds me of Royal Troon. I mean, both of them. I just feel like both of these guys are almost peaking for this event. So I don't know.
it's
Like
hard.
both of them.
We'll see
Anyone
next
else?
week. No, we'll see next week. I'm really interested to see a couple of guys in this field if they play the withdrawal. I think
How they
I
play.
mean, listen, next week I'm going to be all in. I think I'm just kind of like, and I got my own jet lag coming back from Vancouver. But
No worries. Give me a winner for this week, though.
ooh, the dreaded winner.
Who'd you pick last week, anyways?
I think I took Rom last week. Did he play last week? Who did I take?
No,
Who did I take? I forget who I took, but they were. I want to say they were in it. But
Did you take Stenson?
No, I'll have to go back to the clip now. I don't know, but let's go with for now.
Okay, I like that. I'm gonna go with List.
I think I went with Schwartzel actually.
Yeah, you might have.
I'm pretty sure I went with
We really
Schwartzel.
like Schwartzel.
I was all in on Schwartzel last week. Go figure.
Schwartzel's 100% winning now this week, but I'm gonna go with Luke List. Yeah, I just like the spot. Anyways, that's it. FedEx St. Jude Classic. I haven't even talked about the site yet, but make sure you check out fantasygolfmetrics.com, guys. I mean, it like as far as tools go and stuff like that for fantasy golf betting, it's the bomb. I mean, it's the best deal out there. $5 for a weekly subscription. Great deal for a yearly one too. On top of the tools, you got the lineup builder, the new round searcher tool. Again, I can't emphasize this enough. It's awesome. You can basically just look up any one player's performance, strokes gained tee to green at an event. You can go round by round. It's so quick, so fast. It's awesome. Articles up there weekly by me. I'm going to start including my Europe and web.com stuff there for the super degenerates too, like me, who want to get like multiple round heartbreak every week. So I'll start just dipping down a little bit into that too. It's some really good events coming up in Europe. I love betting the Euro Tour. So, and for people who like do Euro DFS too, you can hopefully use that information. But definitely check out the site if you haven't already. Have a great week, guys. For me, at the Fantasy Grind on Twitter, Jeff Ulrich and Stephen Richter at FG Metrics. One more week till the U.S. Open. Hope you have a good FedEx St. Jude Classic.
Take it easy.